Hello, welcome to the BMW Hong Kong Derby special, coming to you live from the home of the BMW Hong Kong Derby. And come the end of race 7 on Sunday, more names added to the race that everyone in Hong Kong wants to win. And joining us for this special preview show, Tom Wood and Andrea Atzeni. Andrea, 12 months ago, is that one of the best losing rides you've ever produced on Kaying Generation?
Well, I must say, when I looked at the screen at the following hour, I thought, and I was 5-6 lengths clear, I thought they'd do very well to come and get me. And I must say, I thought I had it in the bag. But anyway, he was heartbreaking at the time, because obviously when you think you've got it in the bag and then you get beaten a couple of legs or whatever it was. But before the race, if he said to me, you finished third in the Derby, I probably would have took it. But it's like anything. It was exciting, and he gave me a good spin.
It did indeed. You're here for the show. We'll talk more about Johannes Brahms, your ride this year soon. Tom Wood joins us. And Tom, something about this race that everyone in Hong Kong loves, isn't it?
Absolutely, Mark. It's a great race, and so this year it's looking really even. I think it's going to come down to luck in the running, who gets the best run in transit, to how the race is run, because it's such an even field. I don't think there's any standouts, but someone's there to shine on the day.
Start time for this year's race is 4:05. It's race number 7 on the program. As Tom said, it's a very even race, and this is how they line up with the Classic Cup winner, Rubylot, at the top of the book. My Wish, the Classic Mile winner, is below him. Johannes Brahms coming out of a third in the Classic Cup. Stunning Peach wears the cheek pieces for the first time. Mickley has the blinkers coming off. Noisy Boys, 1 for 1 over the 2,000 metres. Steps ahead. He ran 5th last time in his only appearance in the 4-year-old series. California Totality, he raced wide at his only time at 2,000. Mark Wynn has the hood coming off, and Lowrider wears a hood for the first time. So that's the starter list, Tom. The all-important speed map from this 2,000 metre start.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how it develops here over the trip of 2,000 metres. Such a short run to the first turn, and obviously Rubylot's drawn really, really well, in total contrast to My Wish, who is drawn out wider on the track in barrier number 14. But I think California Totality steps ahead. They should be the horses to go forward. My Wish will be looking for a little bit of luck in running through those first couple of furlongs to try and tuck in. Got Packing Angel. Beauty Alliance has got that good tactical speed where he can put himself into the race. And horses like Noisy Boy went forward last time out. Not sure that'll be the plan this time round. Johannes Brahms, Stunning Peach, Mark Wynn potentially back with Bundle Award, who showed that great turn of foot after running back in the field last time out. But all about luck and running into that first turn, because once they reach the first turn, it's basically a 600-metre run to the back straight.
It is indeed. Andrea, you're the best person to talk about. We hear so much about the 2,000-metre start. What's it like from the jockey's perspective? It's basically just down there with 100 metres to the winning post.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky, because you haven't got far until you get to the first bend, and so obviously if you get a good draw, it makes our job a lot easier, because once you get into that corner, you ideally want to get yourself into a position where you can be comfortable, which is not easy, because like I said, we haven't got a lot of time to sort of organise ourselves. So although, like this guy said earlier, the draw over the years in the Derby hasn't been such a big issue, even being drawn wide. But it always helps if you get a good draw, because it makes our job a little bit easier. And like I said, because you haven't got a lot of time to get your position, and it'd be nice, ideally, if you can get your spot before you get to the bend.
The owner yesterday uncovers the horseshoe, barrier number 8. What were your first thoughts?
I was happy enough with him. I was hoping to get a draw between sort of 4 and 8. I thought worth 8 would be quite nice for me, and we picked up 8, which is, I was sort of happy enough with him. Johannes Brahms is a horse that who needs switching off. I don't think we'll be rushing anywhere early on, and I think if we can get a first part right, get him to switch off, I think hopefully if we get the luck and run in the second part, he'll be there with a big shout.
We can touch further, Tom, now on those barrier stats and how even it actually is from the 2,000 metre start.
It certainly is, and you've got plenty of horses that are drawn well in that centre part that are good chances. But obviously in the past, barriers 1 and barriers 5, they haven't won this race over the 2,000 metres. Gates 3 and Gates 10 have had 4 wins, where Gates 9 and 14, of course, Voyage Bubble jumped out of barrier 14, have both had 3 wins. So barriers 1 or 5, and those are the horses down towards the bottom. Lowrider barrier 1 and Beauty Alliance barrier 5. Those horses haven't won the Derby from those gates.
We'll have more from the boys very soon. As mentioned, 20 years ago this year, Vengeance of Rain for David Ferraris won the Derby. Luke was still playing in the sandpit with his Tonka trucks, but then, well, not this year. Luke Ferraris is going to partner My Wish, and Nick had a chat to the South African young gun.
It is 20 years since your father, David Ferraris, trained the BMW Hong Kong Derby when a Vengeance of Rain. What are your memories of him? I know you were very young, but there must have been some great stories.
Yeah, there was. I remember him vaguely growing up, but there was always a buzz in the house when he was entered to race, and you know, the excitement grew when race day came, and I suppose we're standing where I used to watch him from. I was too young to go to the races then, but didn't miss out.
I guess having a horse like that, sort of, you know, trained by your father, and I know your memories obviously are a little bit vague, given that you were still quite young, but I mean, a special horse, and we see it time and time again in Hong Kong with these great horses, Golden 60s, Romantic Warriors, but during that era, he was the standout horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. He was a fantastic horse. You know, his memory lives on, and we see his picture with the new construction going on up there, so get reminders of him. But I think definitely one that that was very important to Dad and our family. You know, becoming an established trainer in Hong Kong, and yeah, he helped us a lot.
You mentioned this is where you grew up, of course. I guess it was always your destiny to come and ride here in Hong Kong, and I know you've ridden a Derby winner in your native South Africa as well, but special memories, I'm sure, obviously as a young man for you and a young child growing up here. And what do you remember of it?
Well, this was my grandstand, but I remember, you know, the early morning track work with Dad, and the races on Sundays, and you know, great memories growing up. There was a good group of kids of us in the playground, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Things have now gone full circle for you. I'll tell you what, let's go the other side of the fence, shall we, and have a chat about the present day.
Yeah.
It's My Wish finding, though, 2.5. But My Wish is going to give Mark Newnham a winning double on opening day. It is My Wish in front. My Wish is in front of Davano. My Wish for the Classic Mile.
You're very much established here now. You've got a big ride coming up in the Derby, My Wish. He's been a dream for you, hasn't he?
He has. He's been, you know, ultimate consistent horse, and yeah, it's been well documented that what he lacks in stature he makes up for in heart, and I think that's, you know, that's shown in his form and the way he races.
The Derby, Luke, is the race that owners certainly want to win, trainers, jockeys, of course. How long has it been your wish, if you will, to win this one, obviously with the history and your family and everything else here in Hong Kong?
Yeah, well, it's obviously the race everyone wants to win. Probably one of the toughest, I think, just being, you know, very limited opportunities. So yeah, I hope, you know, horse feels great, and, you know, all going well, he'll hopefully produce another great run.
Luke's ride last time, Tom, was in the Classic Cup. My Wish running second. He's done a mighty job, this horse, as he stepped up in distance.
He definitely has. He's kicked off the season, beginning of the season. He won on the opening day for a rating of 54, and I think a lot of credit has to go to Luke Ferraris, because that day, back I think it was November, when he flew out of the gates and nearly went riderless around the track, Luke held on to him there. And if he probably hadn't held on to him there, he probably doesn't make the Derby field, because he would have needed another race somewhere to get in. But Mark Newnham, all credit to him, he's done a fantastic job. I think they probably were a little gutted yesterday when barrier 14 came up. It's just going to make it that bit tougher for him. He's not a big, imposing horse, so I think it just could be that little bit tougher for him this time round, where he had a pretty good run last time out in a race that was run fairly quick, My Wish.
You rode Noisy Boy, Andrea, in the Classic Cup. You're not on him in the Derby, of course, but up to 2,000 metres, is that something he's going to appreciate again, already proven at the trip?
Of course, which is going to be a big plus on Sunday. He's a horse that stays very well. He obviously won over 2-2 at the Valley and then dropped him back to 2,000 here in the Class 2. He just got the job done. He's a horse that doesn't really quicken. He stays very well and he's got a nice enough draw. He's obviously got Christophe Soumi on board, which is, you couldn't ask probably for a better jockey. And he's not without a chance. If he ignored his last run in the Classic Cup, he'll be there with a shout.
Was he just a victim of circumstances, up on the pace? Is he better with just a horse to follow, is he?
Yeah. It was one of those things there again. Now, there was a lot of question marks for most of the horses, because, in a sense of stamina. Most of the horses were stepping up in trip. We were coming back in trip, if anything. So my plan was sort of to make it as a bit of a good test of stamina, to trying to make sure we got an even gallop. We were drawn wide, so I had to use him a little bit more than I would have liked. There was a bit of pressure from the horses on the inside, so that made me work a little bit more than I would have liked, and also had the horse on the outside, putting a little bit of pressure on me. So it just didn't work out, but like I said, it's back up to 2,000, which is one on, and although they might not want to make the running with him, but I don't think it's a horse that needs to be too far away, because he's one of the very few horses in the race that will definitely stay.
We'll have more on Andrea's ride, Johannes Brahms, in this year's Derby later in the show. Rubylot is likely going to be, if not the favourite, one of the favourites for this year's BMW Hong Kong Derby, and the man on board is the informed Brenton Abdullah.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I wouldn't swap him for anything, so yeah, big weekend, and we'll see what we can do there on Sunday.
The race itself, over 2,000, Brenton adds another dimension, of course, on the back of that win over 18. You're in gate number 4. Good place to be in your mind?
Yeah, happy with the draw. I thought anything sort of midfield to fraction in was probably the right gate for him. So, yeah, 4 I think will work out well. I haven't had obviously a good look at the the draw in total, but I think 4 will be the right gate for him for sure.
Rubylot, Tom, the connections would have been happy when barrier number 4 was revealed yesterday.
Absolutely, and he's just going to get the perfect run from there, and his last 200 metres was brilliant. His overall 400 was 22.3 last time out. Off 100, he sets the benchmark for this. What a fairy tale it would be for David Hayes. Kaying Rising, of course, has certainly set it up for him over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. But let's not forget, 21 years ago, he won this race with elegant fashion. So it'll be a real feather in his cap to cap off another Derby victory.
Funny you should mention Kaying Rising. We're going to have a little bit of news on Kaying Rising coming after the break, and plenty more from Sha Tin on this BMW Hong Kong Derby special. Before we get back to more talk on the Derby here at Sha Tin on Friday morning, Kaying Rising was at the trials and Zach Purton returned from his toe injury.
I wouldn't say I'm fully recovered, but a long way down the track. I feel pretty good, and we're at the track riding work and riding trials because I feel like we can go again. So just gearing up towards a return next week, unless I pick up a ride in the Derby on Sunday.
Kaying Rising did well this morning.
He did, yeah. That's what we expect from him. He just keeps improving all the time. He seems to do it easier all the time. His mental attitude towards it, he just seems to be handling it a lot better all the time. So he just did what he's been doing, and yeah, he enjoyed himself.
I think you must be looking forward to the Group 2 and the Group 1 next month.
Of course, that's why we do what we do, because we want to be connected to these types of horses, and I'm lucky enough to be on him, and I'm looking forward to the races ahead.
That is Zach on Kaying Rising. We're going to talk Andrea now, and Johannes Brahms, a horse well, he dug deep when you won on him 2 starts ago to score.
He did. He's a horse that I actually rode him in his first ever trial here in Tum Phua. I saw when he first arrived in Hong Kong, and I thought, well, he could be a horse, especially when he landed in Pierre Stable, that a horse to keep an eye on. And anyway, he came into Hong Kong with some really solid European form, and with some really good pedigree. So I had a little bit to do with him, and it was good to win on him here. And I thought he was very tough that day from a sort of tricky draw, but he hit the line quite strongly, and the Classic Cup I thought was a very good run.
Yeah, that was 1,800 metres. He seemed to find the line pretty well over that. So confidence going to 2,000 this week?
I'm pretty confident, yes. Listen, it's a question mark whether he'll get the trip or not. But he's been hitting the line quite nicely. In the Classic Cup, he was sort of doing his best work at the end. And like he's by Uni out of Shamadam mare. On pedigree, he's got a question mark. He may be more of a miler, but you know, the dam I think she was placed black tie place of 1.25 miles, and she only can actually produce, you know, 2,000 meter horses. So I don't think that the 2,000 meters for me is a big issue, but you have to keep that in the back of your mind when you go out in the race, just to make sure we sort of give him every chance to sort of get the distance anyway. And but no, listen, it's a great ride to pick up, and I think the Classic Cup form is the one to pick on.
He's found a bit of trouble at a few of his runs, and he looked to be held up in the early part of the straight last time out. From the video, do you believe he could have got that bit closer to the winner last time out if he hadn't have sort of had his momentum stopped early?
It's hard to say, because you can't take anything away from Rubylot. I think he's a very solid horse. He's very honest, and he's a very good horse. Man, wish he had the form in the book. You know, he's a very consistent horse, a very good horse that he just kept improving all the way through the season. And I thought Johannes Brahms was a good run. The problem with Johannes Brahms is because you have to ride him to get the trip, is he always going to need a bit of luck in running later part of the race. You know, you need to hopefully follow the right horses. And I don't think he was unlucky, but one thing you can take out of the race, I just like the way he stayed on. So that gave you a you know, a bit more confident that the horse will get a trip. And Pierre's done a very good job with him, relaxing him. Actually, I started him yesterday morning. He seems really relaxed, and no, he like I said, I think the Classic Cup form is you know, is the one we probably need to look into. I know there's new horses coming through, Class 3 winners, which are very impressive, but on form, I think the Classic Cup is probably the strongest form going into it.
Just quickly as well, as Northern Hemisphere form, as European form, that's stacked up around the world, hasn't it? Because obviously he was behind Lake Forest and he's gone down to Sydney and performed there well. So he's got a good level of form, doesn't he?
He has, and it was behind the Breeders' Cup winner at York in the at Ascot. He was in the Windsor Castle. He was behind a horse that Tom McQuan, and then he ended up winning the Breeders' Cup juvenile. I can't think of his name now, but. Yeah, anyway, it was really good form coming into Hong Kong, so it's not surprised to see what he's done so far.
You mentioned the horses coming into the race. Andrea Bundle Award, Tom, he's one that'll be hoping the pace is on, and would have been happy to see those horses like My Wish and California Totality drawn wide.
Absolutely. His win was pretty strong last time out. Visually it looked very strong. Only concern is he's coming up here with a bit more weight to carry this time round. He had a lightweight in handicap conditions. That was the only thing that sort of concerned me. He's probably a little bit defined on his rating at the moment. Visually it looked impressive, but he did have the lightweight that day too.
Andre, Beauty Alliance, you've got to respect John Size, everything he sends out, whether you're on or opposition. Yeah, just all running so well.
I couldn't agree more. He actually, I rode against him at the Valley when he won, and I got down to the start, and he just looked like a different horse to the rest of the field. Very calm, he had his head down, he was taking everything to his stride, and very well put together. He just looked like a kind horse, and listen, he jumped. Alexi put him into a good spot, and he won quite impressively. You know, he's got to up his game. You know, it's a derby, but he kept improving. And like I said, I liked what I saw behind the gates. It looks like he's got a good mind, and he looks like a solid horse.
And he looks tactically versatile as well. Like, he's got some speed, he can put himself into the race, and he's going to get a nice run from barrier number 5. Obviously a draw that hasn't won the Derby in the past, but he's also got a bit defined on his rating. But he's a horse that, as I said, he's got that tactical speed, and he does look like he'll stay.
He couldn't have got into the race any later if he tried.
11 days.
Exactly right. He forced his way in right at the end. Well, we just spoke on Bundle Award. We're going to hear from his jockey right now, Ben Thompson, and also from the rider of a horse that Andrea's ridden. Lyle Hewittson's riding steps ahead.
Yeah, pleased. I think that the way he won last time, funnily enough, and unlike most draws sort of leading into a feature race, I really wasn't too concerned. I'm not sure how John Size or connections were thinking or hoping for, but I think he showed off his turn of foot the other day. It's not essential, I think, a certain alley. So Barrier 9's nice. Actually, it was funny on the way over, and I said to my wife Steph that I think more than anything just want a number that feels lucky. And my brother's born on the 9th, so hopefully it brings us some luck.
Yeah, look, I've also done a couple of trials on him from early days and more recently. And yeah, sitting on in the Classic Cup was a great opportunity to get, and I thought he put his hand up and put in a great effort. So looking forward to getting back on him once again, and in one of Hong Kong's biggest races, which is an absolute privilege.
We've heard from plenty of people, Tom. We've broken it down. We've seen the speed map. Who wins the Derby?
I think Rubylot can do it from barrier number 4. Obviously a question mark over plenty of them in this race, seeing out the 2,000 metres. But from the draw of barrier 4, he's going to get such an economical run with Brenton of Della and David Hayes. So Rubylot goes on top ahead of number 14. I'm going to stick him in, Beauty Alliance, off that win at Happy Valley last time out. Was visually impressive. Obviously has a bit to find on ratings, but he was very strong again last time out. Johannes Brahms certainly in the mix as well for Pierre, and Andrea out of barrier number 8. Liked his run in the Classic Cup last start. And in for 4th goes, well, I've been with him a fair bit, Cap Ferrar, but from a low draw, I think he's still interesting here. Craig Williams sticks with him, and hopefully they just take him a little bit further back than they did last time out. Cap Ferrar, the worldwide maiden, but Rubylot off the 100 rating.
So Rubylot for Tom. You wouldn't happen to be with Johannes Brahms, would you, Andrea?
Well, I'd have to say that, but yeah, for sure. I think I wouldn't swap it for anything else in the race.
That's what we like to hear. He is number 3 in the Derby. We've been out and about too and caught up with some of the experts and journos and all sorts of people around for their thoughts on the Derby.
I'm going to go with Rubylot. He was really impressive winning the Classic Cup at 1,800 metres. On that run, the 2,000 metres doesn't look like it'll be a problem, and he's drawn perfectly in barrier 4. So in an even edition of the Derby, he does look very hard to beat.
My selection for this year's BMW Hong Kong Derby is probably actually a little bit of a forgotten horse in My Wish. He was second, of course, in the Classic Cup last time out, and he stuck on really nicely considering they went pretty quick, pretty early. He has been drawn stall 14, but Luke Ferraris has been able to get him out of a wide draw and get him to win this year, and I think he might be able to do it once again. The step up to 2,000 shouldn't be an issue. I think Rubylot will be in a good position, but hopefully he'll be able to come over the top and do them.
The BMW Hong Kong Derby, I am with Rubylot. He has a nice draw, barrier 4, Brenton of Della in fine form, David Hayes, very good 4-year-old trainer, and he'll definitely get 2,000 metres.
My selection in the Derby is Bundle Award. I was taken by his last win at Class 2 level, and I think the key to him is being ridden quietly at the back for a finish, and he showed what he's really made of last start.
So Johannes Brahms, your Derby ride, Andrea. What about the rest of your rides on Sunday? Beauty Viva looked like he trialled well.
He did. He actually ran very well on the dirt the time before. I was stuck on the fence. I could never get out. But he's been trialling well. He's taken a bit of time for him to adjust of the Hong Kong style, and he obviously coming from Europe. And but he's getting there, and it's only going to be a matter of time where he'll be ready to pop. But his trials have been good, and he physically looks a lot better now too.
Iconical looks like he's been an improver for Jamie as well.
He has. I wish I could have done with a better draw, but he's another horse that's starting the other day. He seems in good order. He's drawn 14, which is going to make it a little bit difficult for him, but he's improving each round, so he wouldn't be without shout.
What about packing Turbine back to 1,800 to end the day? This has been the distance he's run his best race over.
Yeah, he's in of a lightweight. I think Class 3, 18. The trip will be perfect for him. He's a horse I will stay a little bit further too, and I like him. It's him in a lightweight, and it looks like a very open race too, so I think he's in there with a good shout.
And you're jumping back aboard Lucky Phenon as well. James McDonald obviously got the win on him last time out, but capped off some really consistent form, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he just kept running well without winning. His circumstances just never really worked for him, but he had the draw the last day. Everything was perfect. James gave him a brilliant ride, ended up winning. We've got the draw again on Sunday. I think if we get the right splits at the right time, he's gone back up to a mile. I think he hopefully should be competitive again.
Just before we thank the boys, let's have a look at the all-important diary about what is happening as far as times go. The BMW Hong Kong Derby is race number 7. It gets underway at 4:05. Trackside live from 12:30. The first at 1 o'clock. Races are all on the website. Everything you need is on the website. There'll be race-by-race previews coming up later at hkjc.com. Click on audio and video. Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea, massive thank you and best of luck here on
No
Sunday.
problem. Thank you very much, guys.
And to you, thanks for joining us as well. And we'll see you here at Sha Tin for Derby Day 2025.